Hey, what's up you guys? DJ Mama here, and you were correct. This is an Altergeist 2023 profile for Photon Hypernova format. So Altergeist, I've seen some weird amount of playability. I know in last format, I think it did top of YCS, I'm pretty sure. But that's when Mystic Mine was legal. So what does this deck do now that Mystic Mine is banned? Well, it pretty much does the same thing it always does. Sit on some trap cards and maybe negate some things, or maybe just lose to Lightning Storm. But at least we don't have to worry about Red Reboot anymore. So let's just get into the cards. Alright, so we gotta start off with the face of the archetype. The face, the man who's been on the limited list. Altergeist Multi-Faker. We'll play 3 of them because Multi-Faker is just so good. You always got to play it. It's the main play starter of the whole archetype. Activate a trap, special summons itself, and non-special summon. It summons a guy from deck. Now, you do get ashed, but just don't worry about getting ashed. Next up, Silquitis. That's right, Silquitis. You don't need... It's always been 2. You never ran 3. You don't want to see 3. You just summon it off a Multi-Faker. It's like the best summon of Multi-Faker. You kind of just want to have it in deck. It's always there. Next up, 3 Marionetter. Sorry. Yeah, 3 Marionetter. Very good. The normal summon of the deck. Normal summon. It sets a trap, Altergeist trap specifically from your deck. And you'd love to see it. Next up, another one of the greats to see. 3 Molyaseek. Very easy, you know, the level 1 who searches the entire deck. Very good. Next up, Pukri. We're only playing 2 Pukri. You do want to see it, and the combo with Molyaseek and Pukri is really good going first. It's one of the only good going first combos for Altergeist besides, you know, set 4. But yeah, that's basically it. That's the monster lineup. We're not playing Concrete. Concrete is on the side because it's sometimes not as great. And yeah, next up. This might be a weird conclusion, but we are playing 3 Duality. So Pot of Duality has obviously seen play a lot of Flu lists. You can play it in this list because you're mostly special summoning on your opponent's turn. So you're looking for the either the good trap cards off Duality or Marionetter. Obviously, it will lock you out of the extract, which is very important for Altergeist, but it's more important, I think, to find the decent cards. You can play Extrav or Prosperity, obviously, but I like playing Duality, even though it locks you out of special summoning. This deck doesn't special summon often, but it can, and if it does, it is great, but I'm just going to Duality and just wait on my good trap cards. Next up, the Secret Village of the Spellcasters. You only need 1 field spell because the boy... Where are you at? Because, of course, Metaverse is at 3. So now that Metaverse is at 3 and Mystic Mine is banned, 3 Metaverse still goes very good with 3 Multi-Faker. And this is your main target. They're all spellcasters, even though Link monsters are spellcasters. So locking your opponent out of spells is very good this format. Hitting things like the Branded deck is insane. Yeah, I think Branded is like the one that's going to come to mind. Next up, 2 Manifestation. This is the Call of the Haunted of the for the archetype. Just special summons 1, and if you can banish, I think you banish it and it adds a trap back, if I'm correct. Please. Yes. You banish this card from the graveyard, target an archetype's trap in the graveyard and add it to the hand. Sometimes that really does come up in those long games. Next up, we have 1 Failover. So Failover is a weird one. You can probably play Haunted Rock over this, but I like Failover. It's just something really weird. It's a pitch off a Protocol. It's also another spin for spoofing, which is insane. Yep. I'm not going to tell you about the card. I'm just going to show you it. Next up, 2 Protocol. You only play 2 Protocol because you can get off Marionetter. That's your main get off Marionetter. If you're getting a Manifestation, you're probably going to tell your opponent, oh, you already have Protocol then. So 2 Protocol is enough, but we are probably citing the 3rd. Next up, the best Altergeist card that's not an Altergeist by name. Spoofing. Spoofing. If this card was an Altergeist card by name, probably would be banned. It's that good. shuffles back an Altergeist card and gets you another one. It's just that insane. Next up, oh whoa, sorry. Next up, our good trap card for the deck. We can main deck this Dimensional Barrier. Yep, D Barrier is an insane card in this format because the top two decks I think are Kashtira and Branded. This just says no XCs, no fusions. It says everything besides links, so it even turns off a ritual deck. So I know that Dragtron is going to come back in the format, but yeah, D Barrier is a really good call here. Next up, triple Imperm, because you got to play Imperm. Imperm is really good. And then we have the Solemn package, the 3 Judgment. Sorry, they're all gold rare, but I'll remember myself to not wear glasses so it doesn't shine in them. Very shiny cards, but yeah, Solemn Judgment, and of course, Solemn Strike. That's the Solemn package. And that's the main deck. So, yeah, just a whole bunch of trap cards, some Altergeist, and this is what they do. They can Metaverse into Secret Village. And dualities, you know, it's a sus little card, but I think it can work in this deck. And that is the list. Feel free to leave suggestions in them. I will respond to them calmly as I can, and as frequent as I can. And honestly, this deck is very cheap. It's a very cheap deck. There's some things that are probably expensive, but it's fine. I think this is a very cheap deck at the moment. I think that's maybe the main selling point right now of the deck. It's very cheap, and it can do well. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say about it. Next up, the extra deck. Of course, we're playing a good amount of Link 1s to just trigger Moliseek turn 1. We're playing Artemis, Link Karibo, and Almirage. These are our Link 1s to link off the Moliseek and get a search. Next up, our Link 2s. 3 Hexia. You ought to play all 3 because Kashtira be banishing our good cards, and we want to play as many as we can, honestly, because Hexia is insane. Next up, we're playing Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy, because we can make it most of the... I think we have some Dark. Multi-Fakers are Dark, yeah. We have Win for Silquitis, and there's some wins, maybe. Oh, you can get, like, Unicorn and Fenrir off Win. That's why we're playing Win. Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn, 2 Prime Banshee. You can probably switch out 1 Prime Banshee for another Charmer if you want. Like, I don't know. What's the one you want to get? Probably another Alina or an Area. The Water Charmer or the Light Charmer. Doesn't know. Either way. Next up, we're playing 1 Selene, the Access Code line, and 1 Memory Gant. I would be playing 2 of each of these. Probably cut down Prime Banshee and Memory Gant. But I don't have those at the moment. And these are fine. Yeah, that is the extra deck. Yeah, we got to play 3 Hexia. 2 Prime Banshee is fine. And the Memory Gant is also pretty alright, but... yeah, it's no replacement for Selene Access Code line. Alright. Also, I think Selene can summon the Altergeist, which is very funny for this deck. I think the most expensive thing is Access Code Selene, but yeah, that's the most expensive part of it, and everything else is probably cheap. It's very, very cheap. Especially with the Artemis reprint from Crystal's Revenge. Very cheap deck. Next up, the extra deck. And we are playing the good old Conqueror. So Conqueror is going in against like very aggressive decks. If their main line is to access code to beat you, make sure you keep 1 Altergeist card on the field, and so Conqueror can negate access code and turn it back to 2300. Next up are spells. Playing 3 Book of Lunar Eclipse. Do you hear that right? Book of Lunar Eclipse. We're not playing Book of Eclipse because I want to keep my monsters face up. Thank you. The few monsters I have should be face up, unless they're, you can just probably end on Hexia, which is alright, but keeping the monsters face up is more ideal. So I'm gonna go with Lunar Eclipse. I do have the regular Book of Eclipse, but Lunar Eclipse is fine. the one of Called By. We also play Dark Ruler. You know, just going second cards. The third copy of Protocol. And then we also have good old Anti-Spell Fragrance if we can't find Metaverse quick enough. This is probably just for the branded style. You don't need to probably play Anti-Spell, which is scary to think of because you have the Secret Village line, but it's just a backup plan to your backup plan for your main plan. And of course, 3 evenly matched. And yeah, that's the main, extra, and side. Other cards you can probably run, you know, there's Gozen. Gozen Rivalry, obviously very good. I think actually Gozen's bad, right? One attribute of a monster? Yeah, Gozen's probably better yeah, Gozen's much better because they're all pretty much different attributes most of the time. Obviously Change of Heart, Mind Control, very good. And then Bystials, you can run some Bystials because those are nice to have around and they're extra link fodder. So those could be the way to go if you want to play that. But yeah, maybe switching out the anti-spells for Bystials is kind of nice if you want to have a decently high monster count. Goes in well over mostly some stuff, and Change Heart is nice, but sometimes it doesn't really work out as much as you'd like. So yeah, that is the main extra deck. Please leave comments of what do you think of the build. Give me suggestions of what you want to see in this build, honestly, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, bye.